Hello everyone, it's Kat and I'm back today to shop my stash, tell you what I've been using throughout October. I am decluttering stuff this month. I have made a decision to be I'm in a ruthless, like, let's get rid of stuff I don't need mode. So yeah, that's what we're doing. Last month I mentioned wanting to test out my Merit little foundation stick thing. And it was because I was concerned that since I opened this at the start of the year, it's more of a clean beauty brand. I'm worried it's going to dry out. It's going to go bad. So I did use it quite a few times. And I don't love this as being my only foundation because I don't find that it lasts all day on my skin anyway. It tends to sort of wear off a little bit. It's like a balmier sort of consistency. So I quite like this as a touch-up product. I was also getting funny breakouts through September and I was like, is it this? I don't know. I don't think it is because that didn't continue. So I decided to put this in my project pan. So it is one that I'm going to focus on using up before it goes bad, but I'm not decluttering it. So there's that. I talked about wanting to test 3 palettes throughout October and I did. To be fair, I haven't been gravitating towards these a lot. This NARS Atomic Blonde is a palette that I did mention that I might want to pan next year, and I still agree with that. I really like the highlighter. I really like these 3 eyeshadows. They're just a really good tone on me, especially in the warmer months. So this is a nice sort of warm toned palette for me. The bronzer I just use as a like a matte eyeshadow, so I'm not gonna expect myself to pan this, but I did like this. I didn't reach for it every day, but I did like using it. It's definitely one I'm going to keep. I did also, especially at the start of the month, really try to use some of the Hindash Beautopsy palettes. This is an all matte sort of ombre pan palette, and this is an all over product. So you can use it as a setting powder. You can use it as a contour. You can use it as a blush. You can use it as eyeshadow. You can use it as eyeliner if you want a powder eyeliner, brows, all that kind of stuff. Now, I do really like the quality of this. I kept finding myself gravitating to the same shades though. So pretty much as a nude eye or like a setting powder, I'd use sort of around here. I would always use this as the blush. I loved it though, it was really beautiful. And then I would also use this as a bit of an eyeshadow, and sometimes I'd go in towards the darker side for my brows. So I found out that my brows probably sit here. So I did like using it. The quality is really, really good. I don't see this as being part of my everyday makeup because I feel like I would hit pan really quickly on some shades like that I'd use as like a powder, for example, and then there'd be other shades that just are there forever. So this is one that I like the quality of enough that I'm definitely going to keep, and I'm going to keep it in a top drawer and try to see if I use it more. But yeah, this as a blush was so beautiful. And it's just very versatile and everything goes on really smoothly. So it just is a nice performing powder product. But yeah, I might try to pan this in the future. I don't know, but I really like it. So I am keeping it. The thing that it's going to break people's hearts, and I'm really, really sorry. So, my NARS Climax palette. I did explain that I bought this half price like a year after it was released. And I love the idea of this. It actually sort of matches what I'm wearing today, which is not this. It's very similar, creates a very similar effect. I'm actually testing out some cream sort of Merit products, so that's what I'm wearing. This is too dark for me on a daily basis. Even the greens, I use the green as like a bit of a winged out liner sort of effect. I can't wear it all over my lid. I can't wear it like in a large portion because it gets too dark. So pretty much these would all just be used as like liners, which is not what I want this palette to be. Even when I used the top row and tried to make it really sort of as like nude and as effortless as possible, it looked quite dark and smoky on me. An issue that I'm having with this palette, which is where I think I've put this down many times, is this look that I'm doing now. What shades do you think I'm using from it? Because it's quite a dark look on my skin tone, which what happens when you've got fairer skin. It looks like I'm sort of using maybe this part of the palette, maybe this color here, maybe some of the dark purple. Well, you'd be mistaken because I am using that middle matte up the top, that mauvey one, and this lighter sort of silvery shade. Yep, That's what it looks like on me. That mauvey purple up the top looks like a smoky eye. So this is very limiting for me. So this is not, unfortunately, a palette for me. It's still in really great condition, so I'm going to give it to someone. Whoever I know that wants this, take it. Lovely quality, just the wrong shades for me. I just know that these shades, like predominantly on my eye, make me look really tired. Even today, I'm feeling like I've really had to like powder the heck out of my under eyes for the darker eyeshadow not to make me look like I'm a bit sunken in. So this is just not a daily reach for me. There are a couple shades that could be, so like this one, maybe that one. But do I want to keep a whole palette for 3 really basic cooler tone nudes? Probably not. I'd actually prefer to just give this to someone that wants it. So this is being decluttered, which is sad. A palette that I'm going to focus on in November, this is probably not the only one, but this is the one that I've pulled out that I want to sort of target, is the Huda Nude Medium palette. So this is a palette I haven't worn in ages, and it is very pink. There's some purple in there. There's orangey shades. So I'm not sure how I'm going to go with this, but I want to see, do I need it? Like, do I need it? I remember really liking the looks it created, but again, that was when I was wearing a lot more eye makeup on a daily basis. So I want to see if this still is something I treasure. So that's going to be my main focus throughout November, but we'll see. I also think focusing on one palette means I can use it more. Having it spread quite thin with the 3, I didn't take as many photos. I didn't sort of analyze it as much. I just sort of had the vibe of, do I want to use this? And if I didn't want to reach for it, I didn't force myself to, which is why I found myself only wearing this, I think, like 3 or 4 times throughout the month. And that says a lot. So that's going to be the case. If I was sort of not looking forward to using it, I don't need it. I did, however, this month test out quite a lot of lip products, including one that I'm currently wearing. So I decided to test out these Charlotte Tilbury. These are they never have the name on them, but essentially it's like the Happy Balm or something. And I've got Happy Berry, which I've got on now, and I've got Happy Petal. Now I wanted to show you this one, which is why I've got it on. It is too much for what I'm wearing. Too much eyes, too much lips. I do think it's a nice berry and I like the shine to it. I know last month I got rid of a Bobbi Brown berry shade because it's not a shade that I normally would wear. I think also the issue with that one was that it was a matte finish. I do think this sort of shiny finish just looks nicer, in my opinion, on me anyway. I think I will keep this one for now. I don't hate a berry. I'm not anti-berry. It's just that if I'm going to try to reach for something instead of it, I'm like, why keep it? But I think this one is quite nice. But I'm going to take this off to show you this Petal one because I think it will balance better with my face. Okay, Happy Petal. These are really thick. They're very shiny and very pigmented, so you can see. They're that type of balm that you got to click up a little bit at a time, otherwise it's going to mush on your lips. So that's Happy Petal. I don't even think that's a petal shade. That's like an apricot shade. Out of the 2, this is something I'd wear a lot more, and I think it's a good sort of summer lip shade. It might be one that I decide to pan in the future. I'm going to keep both of these at the moment because they feel quite nice on the lips. They are thick and they're a bit like sticky, but they do give a really pretty effect. So I'm going to keep these 2. But what I'm getting rid of, hold on to your hats, 4 out of 5 of my Pat McGrath lipsticks. That's a lot, isn't it? The one I'm keeping is a similar effect to this. So this is a sheerer formula. This is the Lip Fetish Sheer Color Balm. So it's not the lipstick, it's the balm. This is a similar sort of color to this. It's less thick and sticky, but it's also less nourishing. So this is the shade Sexy. Ooh, what a name. This is the one I'm wearing, and this is Sexy. So I do have some footage or photos of me wearing this. It is a similar effect, but just less bold. It is less nourishing though. So I did find that it is, even though it being a balm and it being from a very expensive brand, it didn't leave my lips feeling nourished. Like once it wore off, I was like, I actually feel like a lip balm. So I didn't love it from that perspective, but I did like the look of it. The ones I'm getting rid of are all the sort of more bold lipsticks. I do have a few reds here and one nude. I mentioned the nude last month. which is Lust Angeles. Now, the reason I'm getting rid of this, it is a cooler tone nude and it's fine, but it is probably a bit too brown and cool toned for me, and it makes me look a little bit washed out. And what it ultimately came down to was if I actually preferred to reach for a Maybelline lip crayon over this one because I liked the effect more, why keep the Pat McGrath one? So that's why. That's why I decided ultimately to also get rid of it. There are a few reds that I'm getting rid of as well. So there's Elson 2, which is a nice orange tone red. This one is a bit gritty feeling. So the matte ingredient feels a bit gritty, but I think it always has. I love that color. It's my favorite red, but I have it in spades and I have it in formulas that are better. I did wear this a few times. I tried to really go, do I love this? I was more concerned that it was going to transfer. I actually feel like these lipsticks are almost too pigmented, that I'm worried that they're going to transfer everywhere. So I didn't love it. I do have this dark shade Guinevere, which again, it's actually really pretty, but it's not a shade I reach for often. So, you know, and it's got that same issue of it being very, very pigmented. And then the one that I think is probably the most messy is Forbidden Love, which is a true sort of more, I think that's more of a neutral red. It's a little bit cool toned. Now, if I zoom in, you can see that this one has a bit of a sheen to it. So even though these are matte, this is supposed to be matte too. I think the matte component isn't, whether it's broken down, I don't know, but it's very, very smeary and it's very transfery and messy. I remember why I don't wear these too often. They're probably too pigmented. Like they just smear everywhere. Like, look at my hands, me trying to touch it up. There is a thing that annoys me about makeup where people are like, oh, I love pigmentation, pigmentation, pigmentation. But sometimes too much pigmentation is actually too much. And I've also got to do my nails. This, oh my God. See, I just touched a little bit and it got, oh my God, and I can't. So it was sort of too smeary and I had to sort of tied it up with my hands, and look what it's done. Like it just is too pigmented. I'm coming back to this lipstick, this Forbidden Love by Pat McGrath. When I put it on earlier in the month, it was super smeary and quite thick. I put a little bit on the center and then got a brush and sort of just blended it out. It's so pretty, makes me want to keep it. I was so tempted to just be like, a lot of these are going, I don't need them. Maybe I need this. So after using these quite a lot this month, I just feel like I didn't want to reach for them because they were messy and I was worried about them being high maintenance. And I feel like they're the type of lipstick that people think they're like the best because they're expensive. They come in really heavy duty packaging and they're very, very pigmented. But sometimes being too pigmented is a detriment. So it can smear everywhere. It can just get really messy. So those three are going. That one's going, and I'm just keeping the balm because it is something that's an easy reach and I think I can use up. So we're keeping a few things, but we're also getting rid of a few things this month. And I think what I like about doing this sort of shop my stash type style project is that these wouldn't have been things that I would instinctively want to declutter because I'm like, but the shades are nice, but the quality's nice and everyone raves about it. Yeah, but am I going to use it or do I get excited about reaching for it? And if the answer is no, I'd prefer to give this to someone that would be excited because this is lightly used. These are going because they're old and they need to go. So far in November, this is my focus. I will add in other things as I go. If I'm not wanting to reach for this, I will find other palettes to also incorporate. But right now I want to give this a really good go because in theory, it's something that I would want to use. So I really want to see if I'm excited to use it and try to document a few of the looks that I create. If you do a shop my stash or use it or lose it style video, let me know how you're going with it. What have you rediscovered any gems that you forgot about? That's my favorite thing to do. That's my favorite thing to do. A big thank you to my members for supporting this channel and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.